Since Warner Brothers and Legendary feel that placing trailers in your video is infringement on some kind of copyright, instead of, ooh, I don't know, advertising, I've decided that I'm going to have to assimilate a style of video that many people will find familiar and probably get me flack across the board for it. But know that those comments are to be expected, so any comments regarding this style will be dismissed, as I have really no other options to alter my style to what I'd prefer without companies throwing a bitch fit. So I'll trade that in for comments of others throwing bitch fits on the style of this video and all the videos that will follow, because they seem to have nothing better to do, YouTube commenters. But I digress. I'm here to talk about Despicable Me 2, which is one of the only big things this summer I had absolutely no interest in seeing. And the story of how I did end up seeing it is a long and unimportant one. Let's just say the words revenge and Superman come into it. Anyway, I didn't really have much of an appreciation for the first one. In fact, I really didn't like it at all, so I had little faith this one would sway me over. So did it? Not really. Alright, so in fairness, the film wasn't terrible. Hell, it really wasn't that bad. It just did nothing for me, because this film was essentially just the first one again. Nothing seemed to make it a good continuation of the previous film, which I think comes from a weakness that both of them share, and that's the laughably cartoonishly simple plots. I know this is a children's film and that complex plots aren't really advised in this genre, and I would like a compelling one at least. This is one of the original's biggest problems, and this one suffers from it as well. It's just played too safe. Characters just do things in cartoonishly simple situations, which makes to me feel like this film was incredibly out of date for 2013. This is a time for studios like Pixar, and whilst there's nothing wrong with finding your own style, I question the choices made here, especially when almost none of it made me laugh. Yeah, that's alright, I didn't laugh once, except really during the end credits, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. The film was the work of Illumination Entertainment, and the original Despicable Me was their first actual film credit, and every other film of theirs you'll notice a consistent pattern, and that's the repeated use of creatures like the Minions. Oh yeah, they may look different, act different, and have different names, but they're the same things because this studio knows clearly that the Minions are their greatest creation, and they try and repeat the magic that the Despicable Me Minions created in the first one in every other production they've ever made, and it never seems to work. And on the subject of the Minions, even though they didn't make me laugh personally, they are this film's greatest strength, as they always make me smile every time they're on screen. But really, if you took out the Minions, you're left with pretty two lackluster films. I mean, yeah, you've got the horrible characters still in it, but really, what else are there if the Minions aren't in it? And that wouldn't be so bad for me if the films weren't completely reliant on them. The other characters are hit and miss. Gru is a lot of fun, like in the last film, and that mainly boils down to Steve Carell, who is undeniably awesome in this role. I can never tell it's him behind this character, and that's the mark of great talent. The new female lead is a lot of fun too. She's tough, eccentric, and full of a lot of energy, and you can tell Kirsten Wiig is having a great time behind it. The others didn't really leave much of an impact though. The three girls are fine, if not forcibly adorable, but they're almost not in the film, and they don't leave much of an impact on me personally. And the other characters aren't really worth mentioning, as they add very little and succumb to very blatant stereotyping. As for the story, it's not even worth mentioning. It's so simplistic that from the first 10 minutes you can already guess exactly where it's gonna go. And for me that's an issue, because with many other animated films, they offer a genuine sense of surprise on where it's gonna go. And I think this comes down to a lack of focus. Now there's been films like this one where the erratic cartoonish style works to their advantage. And with these two here, the style here is similar, and even though they did it first, they have comedy that works for me, and on a great level. I don't know whether this comes down to better comedic writing or just more heart, but at least this proves that this style can work. For me, it just doesn't work here. Now, despite my complaints, many would assume that I actually don't like this movie. No. It just didn't leave me with anything. And it's nothing I'll ever want to come back to, but it's nothing I can't say that anybody else won't appreciate. I mean, in the theatre, everyone else clearly did. So, all in all, this film just wasn't for me, and that's fine, but it's something I can easily see others enjoying. So in the subject of fairness, I'll grant Despicable Me a 5 out of 10. Not for me, but clearly for others.